Hello and welcome back to Joyfully Cooking. Today we'll be making creamy scalloped potatoes. Let's get started. So first you want to start with washing and rinsing your potatoes. And now we're going to cut our potatoes in thin slices. And then add it inside a bowl. Then in a saucepan you want to add in 4 tablespoons of butter. We're using Earth Balance Natural Butter Spread. And we're going to do 4 tablespoons of that and let it melt down into the pot. And then you want to add 4 tablespoons of whole wheat pastry flour inside with the butter. And now you want to stir the whole wheat pastry flour and the butter together. And you should see the butter starting to melt now. And we only have it on simmer. You don't want the fire to be on so high. So now we're going to take our butter mixture off the fire. And we're going to add in 3 cups of soy milk into our butter mixture. And now we're going to put it back on the fire. You want to be constantly stirring it for about a minute. And we still have our eye on simmer, no higher than that. And now we're going to add our 1 teaspoon of salt in there. So after we finish stirring our mixture, our sauce mixture, for about a minute now, we want to turn off the fire and remove it from the heat so it doesn't get too thick or lumpy. And now we're going to layer our potatoes. As we layer our potatoes, you want to have a greased casserole dish. And with our layering, you want to have a cup of onions and a cup of celery. And we're going to put that over our potatoes. Okay, so now we're just going to have a nice circular design with our potatoes. Just kind of go around the bowl. Filling up all the circles, filling up the whole circle. And then we're going to add in our celery, sprinkle that over, and our onions, our chopped onions already. And then we're going to add in our butter mixture. Then you just continue doing that. Layer it again. And you want about 3 layers in your casserole. Okay? And if you have more, that's fine, but at least 3. You don't want to have less than 3. And at this time, make sure you preheat your oven to 350. You want to have your creamy scalloped potatoes baked for 40 minutes with the casserole top on. And then you want to take off the top so it doesn't boil over and let it bake for another 40 minutes. Now stay tuned for health tips for today. Alright, so now we're going to start with our health tips for today. Today's recipe is creamy scalloped potatoes, and in our recipe, creamy scalloped potatoes, we're using onions. And we usually use onions in every meal that we make here, so I decided I wanted to talk about onions. Now, I call onions the base ingredient because you usually use onions in basically every meal that you make. It's just that ingredient that you need. It gives it the flavor, and it just helps combine the meal together. So I call onions the base ingredient. Onions help with inflammation. If you have an ear that's infected and you put a half an onion on that ear that's infected, it will actually take out the inflammation that is in that ear. So onions help with removing inflammation from the ear, from certain parts of the body that's inflamed. Also, if you have a bee bite or a wasp bite or sting, you rub a half an onion on there wherever it is, wherever the bite is, and the onions would actually help relieve the pain from the bite, because onions and the burn that it's in onions also help with the burn that's with the bite that we had. So there is some ways that you can help with the eye tearing, when your eyes are tearing, the irritation of your eyes. One of them is if you come by an open window. You want to make sure that that window is open, you're getting fresh air in, and it will help with the tearing of your eyes. Also, if you chill onions, before you cut your onions, chill them, put them in a Ziploc bag or put them in a container and put it in the refrigerator or in the freezer and let it chill. Or you can just put the onion by itself whole and let it chill. As long as the onion chills, then you cut it. It will help majorly with the tearing of your eyes, the irritation of your eyes. And then you can always rinse the onion in cold water and rinse the knife that you're going to cut the onion with in cold water. But make sure you're not having the onion under flowing water for a long period, because then you will lose some of the nutrients that are in onions. But those are just some ways that you can, use some tricks that you can use when you're cutting onions so that your eyes aren't tearing. And even if none of those help, then you can always just wear a pair of goggles or something that will cover the eyes so it will be protected from the atmosphere and the aroma that the onions will be giving that will affect or irritate your eyes. Now we'll go back to the show. Alright, welcome back. Now we see our creamy potatoes are bubbling, as you see. So now we're going to take it out, or take the cover off actually, and now let it bake for another 40 minutes without the cover on. So here we have our delicious creamy scalloped potatoes. We just sprinkle some thyme and some pepper over it to just enhance the taste. And oh, this looks so delicious. The nice buttery, creamy sauce over our nice potatoes. And the potatoes are nice and soft, but not too soft that it just breaks. But it's very, very good and delicious. So I hope you enjoyed this meal, and stay tuned for more Joyfully Cooking.